All right, everybody, welcome back again to the Spoold Media Podcast. We're now on to episode number 4. We've got one of our OG buddies on this week. Y'all have seen him various cars from when I first met up with him. He had the Mountain Dew Mustang, and now he's moved on to Uncle Sam, and he's even gotten to blower cars, which is awesome in my opinion. He's away from those turbos. So, y'all have probably seen I'm on YouTube. If y'all don't know the name Nickky Bobby, y'all are about to know it. So we're gonna bring him in, talk about some racing, his business, and all that good stuff in between. So we're gonna go ahead and bring him in, and welcome to the podcast, Nick.
I will say right off the bat, blower cars are awesome.
Yes, yeah.
I'm turbo till I die, but when you can just turn the ignition on and then let off transbrake button, it's pretty easy. It's hard not to like.
That already made this podcast 100 times better than anything I've done so far, because we're talking about how cool blower cars are right off the bat.
Well, it's cool because they're not my blower cars. I don't gotta worry about the brake. I don't have to buy a new blower. It's not my car.
Geez. So we'll go ahead, introduce yourself, just in case somebody that's watched us has never heard of Nickky Bobby Inc., Nick Taylor, anybody like that. So tell the world who you are, bud.
All right. Well, just so you guys know, I have 2 screens here. So here's my camera and my screen's up here. So if I want to see you guys, I'm going to be looking into the distance all night. So just so you know, that's why I'm looking up here. But my name's Nick Taylor, a.k.a. Nickky Bobby. I originate from the origins of Indianapolis, Indiana. And now I don't even know how you say it, Arcanian. I'm an Arkansan. I'm an Arkansan now. I live in Boonville. I graduated from the metro of Indianapolis to the 4,000 people of Boonville, Arkansas. And I used to do HVAC, and I used to actually do drag radio racing, and now I don't do that anymore. I own my own parts business and do pretty much no prep and drag and drive.
He says that, but this man's been on every form of racing here recently that I think you're able to do in the country. So
anything between drag radio. I mean, we've been to Lights Out. I've been to Sick Week. I've been to Drag Week. I've been to street races. I've been to backtrack no preps, front side no preps. I mean, I just like racing. I like racing with my friends.
There you go. I mean, I'm the same way. And you're also the first person now that's officially been on all 3 podcasts that I've been a part of. So
really?
Turbo Tuesday with Houston. You've been on the table, and now you're officially the first person to hit all 3. Now you're on the Spoold Media Podcast.
I think that's the first for me.
So, and before we move forward, I had a buddy, because I told him, I was like, he's like, who are you going to have podcasts? I said, well, I'm doing 2 episodes this week, and I think one of them's going to be Nick Taylor. And he's like, you got to ask him a question for me. And I'm like, all right, I got this. He was like, how did he come up with the "come on with it"? Where's that from? How did he come up with that?
That originates from Flat Rock, Indiana. Man, I don't even know. It's probably 2017 when me and Colt have known each other since I was like a freshman in high school, but we actually started hanging out in 2017. And we're at Waffle House one night, which, by the way, Colt goes to Waffle House almost every single day.
That's why I like Colt already,
yeah,
man.
That's his place. And I forget what he said, but he's like, I said something stupid. He's like, come on. I'm like, wait, you really want to do it? And he's like, yeah, come on. Let's do it. And I was like, oh, all right. And then somehow somebody said, come on with it. And I'm like, I like that. Or maybe I said it or Cole. I can't remember. It just happened. Let's just say that. It just happened and it stuck and nobody asks questions anymore.
So for my buddy Logan, he officially now knows why. Because that was we were talking on the phone. He's like, you have to ask him that. I got to know.
It's one of those things, it just happened. You let it happen, and that's the end of it. You just say it.
So
it just feels right.
Yeah. I mean, you got to roll with it. And it looks good on a T-shirt.
It does look good on a T-shirt. I don't have it on a T-shirt, but it would look good.
So be on the lookout, everybody. The new Nickky Bobby shirts with "Come On With It" will be coming out soon. Come on with it with a big blower in the middle of it.
Oh gosh, we'd have to get that sponsored by ProCharger or Vortec. I don't discriminate. The Nova's actually got a Vortec on it. The Camaro's got a ProCharger on it.
So and that's still blew my mind. First time I've seen this guy in probably over a year, 2 years, and
Yeah.
pulls up, man, trailer as long as the town of Magnolia, rolls out a third gen, which I understand it's a third gen. He's a third gen man.
That's
And then
how
I
it
see
was.
a blower on the front, and he tells, "Oh, this is just a radial car. We're starting the no prep." I'm like, "Damn, you're hitting two things close to my heart: a radial car and a blower car."
Well,
So,
the Nova was a radial car. The Camaros never really
oh,
did anything. Some guy actually
okay.
sent me pictures. They built that car back in like the early 2000s, and they did like NMCA racing with it. And they said the car's never been in the fours. They always try to get in the fours. Never been in the fours, and somebody else bought it, and somebody else bought it, and then somebody else sold it, and then Pete bought it. Pete, that was the first car. Pete said, "What would I buy if I was to get into small tire racing?" And I sent him the link to that Camaro. I said, "This is the exact car I would buy right now for this price. You can't even come close to building half of it. This is the car." And he bought it, and we've got like 30, 40 passes on that car, just wringing its neck. I sped the blower up. I put timing in it. I've done everything, and it's just like, give me more.
dude,
It's like a good stock.
Was that your first time at Magnolia?
Yeah. That's why that first pass, you heard me go, womp, womp. As soon as I did the transition, I let off and got back in it. And I saw the other one, I let off and got back in it. I'm like, I'm not trying to tune around that. I'm just going to use my foot.
Dude, that's what I was we were talking with Happy and Chris after Med Pass. I was like, because that's his first pass down this track. And I was like, yeah. I was like, dude, it didn't look like it. He went down pretty damn good, especially in a blower car.
Well, I told you that after I knew we were coming that I watched your videos and I watched some game tapes. That's what you got to do. It's like NFL players watching videos of the other teams. You got to watch and see what's going on.
But man, it was just awesome to see. And then you had Colt's car there. I seen y'all doing work with Colt's car, getting it going. Good to see it back
Colt's
out.
first time racing in over 2 years.
Damn.
So when I wrecked Uncle Sam, Colt didn't really ever say it, but he basically forced me into racing Johnny just because he knew that like racing's my deal. It's my jam, you would say. So he basically he moved the seat to where he couldn't reach the pedals and only I could. I had to force him to get back in it. I'm like, dude, I'm done racing Johnny. You get back in it. But that's the kind of friend Colt is, He's like the once in a lifetime kind of friend.
Oh yeah, man. Colt's always been a cool dude around me. Like seeing him show up at races. Always good people when they come to race.
The most laid back person you've ever met.
And it's funny because you said you met him when he was a freshman in high school, and if you didn't know Colt, and you seen like is he just out of high school? I mean,
he's older than I am, believe it or not. Damn. Guess what he had when I met him?
Do what?
Guess what he had when I met him?
Colt?
He had a third gen.
The world's just comes around. Third gen people, I'm telling you, I swear. Which I can't say nothing. I got a third gen sitting in the room across from me, but just a 1/10 scale third gen. So
red, white, and blue.
No, it's like the dark metallic gray with a black roof. And it's sitting broken pieces because it made 2 passes at the last time we went RC racing, and it barrel rolled and chucked parts, and we'll just say it's not going to be ready for next weekend when I go RC racing again.
Luckily, I didn't have to do that in mine. I just kind of did that.
You just add some character to Brown County is all you did.
I just had to. My car, normally the cars that I have can't be all one color. Mountain Dew was green and white, and I guess Uncle Sam, it was never one color, but it didn't want to match, basically. So now it's black and red, white, and blue. And
what's funny, you say Mountain Dew, and I'm like looking right over my shoulder right here in my little office space area, and I still have a picture of when you brought Mountain Dew to Dig or Die coming out of the burnout box, because that was
I still have that picture hanging up that you sent to me. We actually just hung up all the pictures I had. I have a bunch of canvas prints, but the one that you sent me is one of the prints that I had framed, and we just hung it up the other day.
Dude, and every time I look at it, because that was really the first weekend I went hardcore into photography at that event, and I just keep that up there just as a reminder. And I'm like, the cool friends car, and it also reminds me, like, all right, I can do, like, I went real crazy with the Boca, and there's just part of it in focus, but still looks gangsters.
Yeah. That was when we were supposed to go street racing. We all went to the street race spot, It got busted, so then we went and did the race at 710 Dragway. We raced all night long, and then basically didn't sleep and went into digger die the next day. That was also, believe it or not, that was Austin Shepard. That was his first time ever leaving the state to go racing. Like, he'd only been out of state one time before that. And we're like, you want to go to North Carolina this weekend? He was like, yeah. And we went and we raced all night long, and then we raced all day. And he was like, yeah, I think I'm going to do this.
Dude, once the bug hits you, it's terrible because I've told somebody, it doesn't matter if you get into racing, I don't care what side you're in, whether you're racing, media, anything. Once you get into it, it's a bug. Might as well just throw all your money away. It's just, you're going to do it, and that's it.
Yep. Off topic. Did you know Johnny caught on fire Saturday?
So, the past one, they told me about that. And if you watch my video.
Oh, Colt said that he watched it.
You can see the little flames dropping down. Because the past before that, you could see a lot of sparks coming from that side. And I was like,
I don't know what the hell that's about.
And then I'm zoomed in on Tim Crump where he had tagged the wall and came back on the track. And then I look and I see these flames dropping down out of the bottom of Johnny. And I'm like, I didn't see it until I went to the editing process. But then Tim was telling us the story. He's like, I blocked him off and he probably thought I was wanting to fight or something. But no, dude, I was trying to tell him the car's on fire.
I got GoPros. I have a GoPro in Johnny. And you hear, wah, and like Colt goes, what the F is this guy doing? And the guy stops and Colt stops and he goes, oh, this is going to be interesting. And Colt gets out. He opens his door. Doesn't even get halfway out the car and they're like, you're on fire. And he's like, what? They're like, you're on fire. And he's like, ah.
Like,
it is like pure gold.
If that doesn't show how awesome the racing community is, this guy just wrecked his car into the wall and still pulled over in time to tell Colt he's on fire. Like, wouldn't worry about his own car. Like, I'm telling this guy he's on.
He got off the track and he mud through the grass to cut Colt off. And I actually said something. I just uploaded a YouTube video. It'll be out in a couple days because I have another one to post before that. But I was like, I said the exact same thing you said. I said, if that doesn't show you what kind of guy, because I forgot his name. I didn't know his name. But I'm like, I don't know his name. I know Colt's been talking to him. I said, if that doesn't show you what kind of guy he is, then, I mean, the dude literally just wrecked his car. Didn't even care about it. He was more worried about Colt's car burning to the ground.
Yeah. Dude, and that's why I tell somebody, man, this community, you can't, it's amazing. Just for stuff like that, little things like that, like you wouldn't expect. You think that guy'd be more, no. He's worried about Colt over here being on fire. All my car's fixable. This guy's on fire. I got to stop and tell him.
And he's like, oh, I'm a body guy. I can fix it. No big deal. That car was on a pass too. I mean, it went right just a little bit. And went because it was in a wheelie and went right, and he set it down. It was in the grass, and he got back in it and just shot him over. But man, it was a wild weekend.
Yeah, he sent us the pictures last night on the table and was looking. It was pretty banged up on top. He said, "Oh, it'll be ready by Saturday." Like, damn.
I wish I could do body work that fast.
Oh, man, my extent of body work is grabbing the rattle cans and spray painting my RC bodies and then watching them get destroyed. So, and then touching them back up.
You can see my painting body skills. Every car I get is really nice when I get it, and then that's as nice as it ever is.
And character's a good thing. So
it's all right. They're race cars.
Yeah. So the last time I had you on the podcast, I know you had just made the move to Arkansas. You were getting the company started up. So fast forward from then to now, how's the company doing? How's everything going with the company?
I don't even, man, that's a lot to think about. So I've already been here a year and a half. So I was going to buy one building, and I basically bought the other one for practically nothing. So I bought two buildings, basically Main Street, and sort of renovated them. I'm still in the process of renovating them, but renovated them, got parts, got stuff organized, got machines, and then I ended up hiring. I hired one employee. And then I now have two employees. I just hired another one. And I told myself I was never going to hire another employee. But the first one I hired is my buddy Tom's wife, and she's like a straight workhorse. And I was like, if I can hire more people like her, I can do pretty good in business. So I hired a kid that actually Tom recommended to me. So I hired him to be a welder. And so now I've got – because it got to the point where it was like business is good. So then I couldn't keep up with welding and shipping the orders. So then Karina started shipping the orders and I was welding them. Well, then I was welding so much I couldn't design or do any content or work on the building. So I hired the kid to weld. So now I've actually got the kid welding parts while Karina's pre-packing them to put them on the shelf so we can ship them out easier. And then I've also got this kid helping me work on cars to do content with. And I even got Karina working on the Nova the other day. She did parachutes and parachute handle and CO2 bottle and like a bunch of parts she put on. And so like I actually was able to come in here and design like this thing. While they were working, I was able to design this and make this billet flange because I had time. And that's like, time around here is something you just don't have because, Dennis works like 12, 14 hours a day minimum. Alex is literally gone. She's either on the road or working. And that's kind of like, it's just what we do. We race, we work, we go, we have fun. Like there's not much sitting around here. And it's like, that's the pace I really enjoy.
I'm the same way when it comes to that. Like literally left Magnolia, got back to the hotel, edited, got up, drove home. As you're driving home, getting everything lined out for this week. Podcast Monday, table Tuesday, podcast now, and then back on the road tomorrow going racing again. So for 4 days.
It's funny because Colt said, man, I'm sore. Like we got back to his house on Sunday. He goes, dude, I'm freaking sore. I was like, yeah. He's like, I'm going to go to work tomorrow so I can relax. I'm like, yeah. And we just go so all out. And it's like, it's funny because we come to work and work's kind of like where you relax. But it's that thing where like when you can actually do something you enjoy doing and like you follow your dreams and you get into that routine, you can it becomes like second nature. You can go there and you have this deal to where it's not so stressful to go to work. It's almost like he said, I worked myself so hard this week in racing, I can go to work and relax.
Yeah. And the thing is, like I explained to a lot of people too, and I think you probably got this through your design, making content, all that. The mind never really shuts off. Even when you're like laying in bed, you're trying to get some rest, you're always constantly thinking about the next thing, what you need to do next, all that. I mean, I was having this discussion with Limpy and Happy about that. And this is like I said, I was like, I might go and relax, but it's not like I'm going to sleep. I might sleep for a little bit, but like if I get I could wake up in the middle of sleep, I got an idea, I got to write it down on paper or figure something out. I'm that type of person.
I can't fish, I can't hunt, I cannot do any of that because I'm the type of person, if I'm not like machining something, now that I've learned how to machine, I want to do that my whole life, or if I'm not building something or racing or tuning or doing a video, like if I'm not doing something like that, the way I relax, I want to be a potato on a couch. I'll watch a movie, I'll shut every blind, I'll darken the room, I'll literally shut myself out. But that's it. Like I can't go do something out in the wild and just do nothing. Like I can't do that. I got to be doing something. Like I want at least a little bit of action.
I mean, I'm the same. Like I've been seeing all these movies that are coming out. I'm like keeping a list in my phone. So once the season's actually over and there's snow on the ground, I can't do anything. I know I at least got something. All right, now this is my relaxing time for a month and a half. So.
Russ. It's hard, but being on the road's really hard. I mean, it's hard to eat good. It's hard to sleep good. It's hard to have any sort of schedule. I mean, Alex flies back and forth between California and Arkansas, which it's 2 hours different. But when I was in Indiana, it was 3 hours different. So like, her schedule's always screwed.
No, I couldn't.
It's hard.
When we went to Texas this year, and just being an hour behind for a few days, if like screwed up completely. Like I'm sitting there filming, I feel like we've been going, oh, it's only like, it feels like it's midnight. No, it's only like 7 o'clock. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
It's like when I go to California, I wake up at 5 or 6 in the morning. I'm like, I'm an adult now. I can get up early. And then I come home and I get up at 9. I'm like, oh, what time is it? 4 in the morning?
Gee, but man, I feel you on that. And what's funny is you say, like, and I hate to say this, but Arkansas is officially on like I don't care if I really go through it state after when we went on the way to Texas, like between the high, like 40 through Arkansas, I think it is. We went down going to Texas, like
So Arkansas is a place nobody ever wants to go until they go. But I will say you didn't go through the right area.
No, man.
If you come, so like the upper, basically it's called NWA, Northwest Arkansas. It is like the nicest place in the world. I mean, I travel all over the world. I mean, not the world. Travel all over the country now. I go to California all the time. I go to Texas. I'll go anywhere to pick up anything off Facebook Marketplace.
the marketplace people.
Every time I go, yeah, I come back and I'm like, this is where it's at. You know, like I come back here to Boonville and I'm like, this is where I want to be. And people are like, oh, well, that's where Alex is at. I was like, no, Alex is never here. That's a factor, but like it has everything you need, and it's like it's convenient, it's cheap, it's free. You can be creative, you can do anything you want to do here. And it's like I've like since I moved here, I'm just like thriving. You know, that's how that's the only way I can describe it. Like I'm thriving, but I have the right people surrounding me also. So
yeah, dude. And that's like for somebody like cause where you were at and the racing area like that, and then just to go down to Arkansas, which I don't think racing is maybe as prevalent there as it was where you're from, and all that. And now you're going like you're building something that's actually pretty big for that area in itself. Like even if the area doesn't realize what you're actually doing, you're doing something good for it.
It's funny because so many things people don't know are from Arkansas. Brodex is like an hour from here.
Oh shit.
I mean, there's so many things here. There's so many foundries and like I mean, stuff you would never think here that's manufactured here. It's from here.
Damn.
But it's funny, and this is a testament to how good of a friend Colt is. You know, like me and Colt, we raced every weekend together for years. Mm-hmm. And like I worked on Colt's car and we went racing together. Like that's what we did. But when I told him I was moving to Arkansas, he's like, when? You know, well, when do I need to be up there to move your stuff? He's one of the two trailers that we brought out here. He drove overnight with me with my trailer falling apart on the way to bring all my junk out here with his whole family in the truck, and then drove back the next day. Like you would think it'd be a negative for me to move out here, but he doesn't think about that stuff. He's like, he just wants to be a good friend. So that's a little off topic, but it popped in my brain.
So, well, Colt, if you're watching this and you're listening, when I'm making the move to North Carolina next year, I'll be calling the Coffee Moving Company.
All right. He's like, I got to take off work that day. And you're like, well, it's a Sunday, Cole. He's like, I know. I was planning on working that day. Colt's one of the only people I know that works like 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Man, and that's the thing is like he sees it too. Like you got to have that type of drive to do what we do.
You do. I mean, I just got off the phone with Pete, the guy that owns those cars I've been racing. I'm like, man, since I got back, I got up at 5. I was in here at 5:30 yesterday, worked till 7 or 8. And like, I was in here at 6 today, and it's 6, going to be 7, 8, 9 before I leave. And he's like, oh, that's what you got to do. I said, yeah. And he's like, try throwing a couple kids in the mix. I'm like, I don't know how people like him do it. You know, like he's also those people. He works probably 4 to 10 every day, like 4 a.m.
Wow.
10, but it's just, I guess, but again, when you enjoy doing something, it's not that big of a deal.
Oh, that's why I tell people this. Like, I'm doing something constantly, but I don't think there's anything else I'd rather be doing right now but racing. Like, that's what I get up. That's what I eat, sleep, and breathe. I mean, if I'm doing something that's not racing.
Corey's already got his video uploaded. I'm like, well, I guess that makes sense. Like the first time I met you, you're like, oh yeah, I'm going to the hotel now to edit. I'm like, we haven't slept in 72 hours. How are you doing this? And you're like, that's just what I do.
It's part like the YouTube game. I've learned, especially on the coverage side, like get it out there.
Yeah.
And I'm the type of person, I don't like sitting on footage anyways. Like it after a race is done, I'm still hyped up. I'm still pumped. Like I got at least a couple hours still left in me. Let's get this video knocked out.
That's all it takes, though. A lot of people put stuff off because they think, oh, it's going to take me a day or whatever to edit. Like, if you really get after it, I mean, I just got an iPhone and iMovie. I'm sure you're way better than that, but I haven't upgraded. I've got Adobe, but I haven't It's like I can self-teach myself to CNC, but for some reason I don't want to do Adobe.
I don't even do Adobe. Like all my stuff's now Mac, so I use Final Cut Pro because just for the fact it's Mac based. I can do Adobe, but Final Cut Pro is just good for me for my style of editing, things like that.
Sure.
Because it like literally you see that video, and from the time I took everything out of the case to offloading it to it's on YouTube ready and waiting to premiere, it takes me about an hour. So it's like I've got this down to a science now.
Yeah, I like the drag and drop method with a few
Yes.
cuts and transitions.
Yes. Now, when I did, what is it? Now, you know, you're talking about you're big in the drag and drive stuff, and you like doing the drag and drive. When I went on my first drag and drive, that was like a whole different world for me, like on
You're
filming
like,
and
this
how
is
to
high
do this.
bass stuff.
And see, you're talking about, oh, you have this equipment. Let me tell you, on the drag and drive, my iPhone was like when I'm not at the track, the iPhone's the greatest thing ever made. I learned.
That's all you need.
Because
Yeah.
it's always by my side. I don't have to dig through the case to get the big camera out. I'm at a gas station talking to somebody, iPhone.
If you do anything media related nowadays, iPhone and Mac is the only way to do it. Unless you hate sleeping and love wasting time.
Dude, I got a Windows computer, one of my old Windows laptops out, because that's all the tuning program for my RC car. You have to use that. You can't use anything else. And I opened it up and I was like, man, this is like finding the dinosaurs. I mean, I don't even know what I'm doing here.
I mean, I have a tuning computer and it's Windows, but that's the only thing I use it for is tuning. Because that's all you can count on it for.
That's the same.
Sometimes it doesn't even do that.
But you know, going back, like I said, you said you did radio racing, you did drag and drive, you did big tire, small tire, no prep. This, what can you say is truly your favorite type of racing to do?
I think that, and I feel like this should go for everybody, because like if you just say one type of racing is the only type of racing and that's the best, then you're probably just kind of close-minded. For me, like, it's weird because at first it was only small tire and I liked street car stuff, you know. Well, then it was front side no prep, then it was only backside, and then like the big tire came, and I didn't really want the big tire life, but I really, really, really enjoyed going fast. Like a 1060 foot, I swear to God, it'll change your life. You can do that on a small tire, but it's a whole lot harder. And you got to worry about wheeling or whatever. It's a lot. It's a lot of fun to let off a button and know it's not going to spin or wheelie and just take all that G-force straight to the dome. But like, honestly, right now, I'll tell you, I don't even know if I have a favorite, because like I really enjoy business right now, and I just, whatever I can go enjoy with my friends or with Alex or whatever, that's what I'm doing, because I can enjoy going to a drag and drive, or we go to Bonneville. Like, I enjoy that, or like that. Like, just last Saturday, last Saturday was the most fun I've had in a long time, just because, and I told everybody while I was there, and I felt like I was one of those kids that gets a participation trophy, because I was like, dude, I don't care how well I do tonight. Like, I've worked my ass off to be here. Don't get me wrong. Like, we tested, and I test as much as I can because I really enjoy testing, but I'm here because I want to have fun. I want to go racing. I really enjoy racing, and I want it to be fun. But there was a long time where racing was not fun for me, where like I just it lost like the fire and the sparks. So like I have that back now, and I'm not gonna let that go away just because I say I have to do this kind of racing or whatever. So like, any kind of racing I can go do with Alex or with Cole or with Pete or just anybody, like I enjoy that now because I'm in a position where I can go do that now. Before it was like, we got a race to pay the bills.
Yeah.
It's like a job. Then it's not, it
Yeah.
is not at all. And it has no excitement. It takes all the excitement out of it.
And I feel you on that, because like, this is my job. This is what I do. But at the same time, I don't let it take that mindset. Like, I always got to remember, this is what I love.
Yeah,
and
it's easy to do though.
Yeah. Oh, very. And that's like, you got to factor in the fun with as much as the work. And that's something, like this year, I've really had to get on myself about doing, like, hey, you got to have fun with this too. If I miss a shot, I miss a shot. It is what it is. Yeah. I said, I'm not going to kill myself over that. I said, I remember that, like, sometimes it's fun just to sit back and watch for a few minutes and just, just look at it.
I will credit some of my enjoyment now to age, because before, when I was younger, I thought stuff was supposed to be easy just because of what you see on the internet and you know, Facebook and all that. But now I know whatever those people are doing is not easy. So like it sucks having to work on stuff every day of the week and loading and unloading and reorganizing. And your shop is always, no matter what you do, if you work on something, your shop's going to be a wreck. So you have to clean your shop every time you work on something. So like there's always going to be a mess. You're always going to have to clean. You're always going to have to repack stuff up. You're always going to have to fix broken stuff. That is part of racing. And like one thing that started my mindset change in that was Stevie Fast. I watched a video of him and he said, all racing is problem solving between round after round. There's that's all you're doing. It's not just turn the key on and go racing. That's, I mean, if you want that, you go bracket racing or whatever, but there's still problems in that. But like, if you're heads up racing, if you're competitively racing, every single round, there's something different. You're always having to overcome the whatever, the track, the car, the weather, whatever. Like it's 100%. It's never going to change. Like the sooner you get over that, the sooner you're going to enjoy it a lot more. You're always going to be sweaty and dirty at the racetrack.
Yeah. Like that's part of, and I remember watching that too and just hearing that. It's like, man, it just makes so much sense.
It does.
And
it literally, like that and Jeff Lutz, when he, it was a long time ago when he was on the Chief and Sean show. And this is before I heard the Stevie Fast thing, but I used to get very sentimentally attached to my cars. Like my dad was never one to buy and sell cars. He had a couple cars throughout his life, and like he had, like, those were his cars. And like Alex is very sentimental with her cars also. But Jeff Lutz said, and he said, cars are just a tool. Like they get you from point A to point B. That car. And my dad also taught me the same thing. That car, like, you think everybody likes you because your car or whatever, they don't. Like that car, they like the car because of you. You build the car. So many people told me when I sold the Malibu or Mountain Dew or whatever, they're like, you can't sell that car. That's you. That's you. I'm like, no, the car, like I built this, I made the car what it is. I can build another one just the same. Like people like the people. Like cars are one thing, but the people make the cars. So like that was a big stepping stone for me because I was able to like not connect myself so deeply with like people enjoying the cars versus people enjoying like me. Or interaction.
Dude, 100%, man. I had that, like, I'm the same way. Like the cars I had, like I was like that. I was attached to it. It's just that, and then it just really hit me. It's like something like that. It's like, man, especially when I started building my business up, like it's just a car.
Yep.
I was like, they make all kinds of them every day. I said, I'm the one person. Like, what was I had the Explorer last, and that's what we're using for business. I was like, I'm the stepdad looking guy now, but I'm just going to races. And I said, now I'm in a truck, so I'm like, oh man, it's still Spoold me. It's just a truck. It's okay, guys. Because everybody's asking me, when are you gonna actually get back into real racing? When are you gonna get another car again? I said, probably never. I said, I'm enjoying just what I do now. I said, when I raced, it was just too much of a headache. I said, trying to do that, media and everything. I said, I don't know, like, I would literally have to hire such a large team if I tried to go back racing just to, all right, you got to do this for Spoold Media, this. I'm going to try to focus on the racing. Like, no, we can't do that.
Well, you do it to have fun. Like, that's what people don't understand. They're like, what do I got to do to be competitive? I'm like, don't ask yourself that question. Ask yourself what makes you happy. Does just being involved make you happy? Does just watching make you happy? Or does tuning make you happy? Or does just driving make you happy? Or do you want to be the one to do it all? And do you want to go win? Because like there's a very different budget for all of those.
Yeah.
And some people don't have the budget for any of them. So it's like, you got to understand what makes you happy. Right now, I'm happy. So.
Well, I can tell you too, and you were talking about like it felt like too much a job, and like it got like I had that point hit with what I was doing, and then I went on a drag and drive, and I'm gonna tell you right now that drag and drive community going on just one of those like revamp my love for shit in this.
Yeah,
like I have never been on something that I enjoyed so much watching people that barely even got to race. We drove through like 2 days of rain, and then we only got to be at the track twice. But those guys are just having the time of their life. Like I'm in hotel parking lots, hanging out with them. I'm just the media guy, just chilling with them, like hearing how they do and like just the whole basis. And that's why I said, I was like, man, that really amped me to like, I haven't been on one. I'm going on one in November, but like that got me re-urged with Spoold Media to go. And that's what really pushed me into, no longer thinking it was a job because I was like, those guys are just out there having a good time.
Yeah. There's a big difference in all the communities, and like it's cool when you can do them all and you can see the difference, but
Mm.
at the end of the day, everybody's still racers. You can go to any race, you can go to a tractor pull, you can go to a dirt bike race. Everybody usually ends up helping everybody just to race.
Yes.
Just like the guy trying to cut Colt off after he just wrecked his car because he's more worried about Colt's car burning to the ground. Because like most people who drag race, I mean, they're smart. Like they're smart people. They understand like the consequences. Like they're not just going to get all emotional and mad that they wrecked a car. They understand, oh, Colt could lose his life. He doesn't know that car, there could be a fuel tank back there. There's not, luckily, but there could have been. So like racers are a different breed.
Yeah.
They're not always the smartest, but a lot of including me. But
I'm same. I've had my moments.
Yeah. But one of the things I've always really enjoyed about the drag and drive, and I think it's funny because I'll say this, and some people might not like it, but like, so you had lights out, and it had its whole, up and down. And then you had small tire front side, no prep, and street car racing, and then backside no preps, and street racing went up, and they all had their peak, and like. Now all of a sudden, drag and drive is the new thing, and it's doing this, and I think it's right here, right now, like because it's what happens. It's like there was a couple backside no preps, and they were huge, and then there was a couple drag and drives, and they were huge. Just like there was a couple radial races, and they were huge. But as soon as you put 15 or 30 of them in a year, it's like that. It's Jason's Trail. Me and him talk about it all the time. There's the history repeats itself no matter what form of racing you're doing. So like I love drag and drive, but I see it doing the whole
it's a vicious cycle.
Yeah. And that's kind of off topic of what I was actually going through. The reason I enjoy drag and drive is I used to watch this thing. I watched a couple of videos, like, I don't know if you know anything about motocross or there's a freestyle named Twitch. Twitch, right? The Metal Militia. Everybody knows the Metal Militia.
Yep.
Well, Twitch and Deegan and their buddy, I can't remember his name now. He's got tattoos. He does Kung Fu. I can't remember his name.
You'll hit me here in a second.
The whole Metal Militia was crusty demons of dirt. They were the first. They invented freestyle motocross. They went out when they weren't supposed to on these dunes and did all these tricks when everybody else was riding motocross. They did freestyle. And like, to me, drag and drive was kind of like that. Like, I really enjoy, you're not supposed to have these cars on the road. You're not supposed to be driving them. You're not supposed to be doing all this stuff. And you go and do that. Now, do I like the NHRA aspect of it? No. I hate organizations with a passion. And it's mainly just because the people that run it. I don't really, like, authority isn't bad as long as it's for a good cause. But that's a whole other topic. But like drag and drive gives me that. I love drag and drive. To me is almost like street racing. You show up, you just, it's action. You change the car over, you make a hit, you tune it, you change something, you go make another hit, you pack everything back up, you're on the road all night. You're just like, you're almost eating shit for a week. But like, I love that. It's just like going and riding in the desert all day, like the Metal Militia did. Like, they don't have toy haulers out there with AC and a chef and all that stuff. Like, they're out there just because they love it. Like, people are doing drag and drives because they love it. Now, I will say there's a lot of people saying we should have slow car drag and drives and this and that. Like, to me, saying that you guys dislike fast cars on drag and drives defeats the whole purpose of a drag and drive, because you can take any 11-second Mustang and you can drive it to the track and race it. People have been doing it since the 60s. Like, that's not doing anything new, like that's kind of one of those participation trophy deals. But I want to include everybody, but then some people take it upon themselves to just, I don't know, be a squeaky wheel that needs oiled.
Well, it's kind of like Devonsville out here, Southeast Street, and you have the fast cars, and then you have a class, and what does he call it? Dial your own. Like, yeah, you can run something like that in that, but you can't take away from the fast cars because, and this is me talking as a promoter too, that's who brings the people in. And puts butts in the seats. I mean, like I said, we can go see any Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night in Virginia, Carolina, anywhere on a Tesla 2 night, your average car going down the track. But like, who was it? Goldstone. I've never seen that car before in my life. Got to see it for one day.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I got to go one day of Street Meet last year and seeing it, and I'm like, that made my trip. Seeing that one car, because I've watched, dude. I remember when Kyle had put out, like, when it was pump gas drags, and then the very first drag week. Like, I'm showing my age on this one, and like seeing these guys, and then I finally now get to start seeing some of these cars going out and doing that. I'm like, man, that's cool. Which I don't hate on the slower guys. No, man, that's cool.
Well, I mean, we all start there. I mean, everybody starts there.
But man, there's something about seeing a car do a which Devin's deals at 8th mile, so doing 4-second passes, and then knowing that thing's getting ready to travel 600 to 800 miles in North Carolina and South Carolina on back roads and all this shit. It's just cool to me.
I mean, dude, when I did it in Uncle Sam, we had spindle mount wheels. I had like little brake pads that were this big hauling a trailer. It's like, to me, it's like people are like, oh, that's dumb. Why would you do that? You got to buy these big brakes and do all that. I'm like, it's like the Metal Militia Crusty Demons of Dirt. Like, I'm going knowing I don't have the right stuff, but I like that. It's like the thrill of the chase deal. Like, I like that. I like not doing it perfect because, I never have time to do it perfect. And part of me, maybe that's why I justify not doing it perfect, because I don't do anything perfect. But it's like the rawness of it. I enjoy the rawness.
And I'm the type of person too that I work with what I got and make the best of it.
Yep.
So, I don't have, it's like I've told people doing this whole live stream stuff, like I've been like getting what I can afford, what I can use. Well, I'm working with what I got, and hey, it looks awesome. I'm maxing the potential out on it. So, I mean, you might have had the smallest brakes in the world, but it got you completely through sick week.
Yeah. And I mean, and I've been on both ends of the spectrum. I've done it because I can, and I've done it because I've had to. Like when it was me and Mike Prickett did drag week in 2017, we did it with the whole group we were with. But I literally went through 3 or 4 motors in my car, and I had to change the motors because they were cheaper than having my car towed, and I didn't have the money to have my car towed. Like, that's how broke. I mean, I used to race that broke. I drove my car to Pacemakers one time. You can ask Billy Hoskinson about this. I drove my car to his Pacemakers race with a trailer on the back, and you can even ask Adam about this. I didn't have money to get home, gas money to get home, and he had to give me like $20 or $40. It was like 4 hours from home. I almost ran out of money and gas on the way home. That was the OG Malibu, or no, that was the Malibu's 2.0. But I mean, I've been on both ends of the spectrum. Not that I'm rich by any means, but I'm still broke. But I'm race car broke.
I tell everybody, if you're talking to somebody that's race car and has a race car, they really ain't got no money. We spent all of our money racing. We're really broke. We're just having a good time.
I'd be miserable if I wasn't broke, though. I would find some. I guess I'd find something to spend it on. I can't. It's like a drug, I guess. Spending money is like a drug. If I get it, I'm like, what can I do?
Oh, that's me. I'm the same. Like, I told somebody, I said, they're like, what do you do, man? I'm like, I spend my money on hotel rooms, food, and gas. And then I might see a camera lens. Oh, I gotta have that.
That's like, yep. Food.
But I said that's my life right there. So, but and I'm gonna veer off because everybody always gives me hell on the show for talking about food and stuff like that. So I always ask. And you've been to a man that's been to a lot of places, a lot of tracks. Which track have you been to has the best track food?
Man, I'm trying to think. Normally, I don't even get to eat. I'm trying to think. Honestly, I have no idea, dude. I'll say Muncie, Indiana, because you can order Pizza King.
Oh, well, dude, that's good enough. That's good enough.
You know what I'm talking about there.
Dude, I was literally just talking to I was Snapchatting Alan, and he sent me like he's out in Vegas, and I was like, "Hey, just letting you know, don't forget, I'm coming up in a few weeks. I need my Pizza King fixed."
It's funny. I mean, we rented Muncie a while back, and he came and tested for a day or two, and the last day he ordered. I mean, one of every pizza on the menu and we had a whole feast of pizzas. And I'm like, this is heaven.
Well,
Race cars and pizza.
I can literally sit there and think back that I've only been to Muncie one time in my life. Like we get unloaded, all that, and I come over and I just say hey to y'all, and the first thing is, hey, pizza's here. Come in here and come eat right now.
Oh, that was the banger. That was when
yes.
that was the night before I wrecked.
Yeah, that was pulling up, bumping some David Banner out of the front speakers on the Camaro. Like, where's that coming from?
I still got a speakers. Yeah, in the stage lanes. That's my favorite part about my car is the stereo.
Oh, and that's everything I have to have has music on it. I've even got a speaker that I can slap on my scooter.
Yeah,
like music, I gotta have my music.
Just like life. Like today, the kid that I got here, Court, he was working, and I was running back and forth. I was running. Me and Alex had to run a few places, and I was on my computer. And like halfway through the day, I'm like, "Oh man, I'm sorry, it's been silent in here." And he's like, "I don't care." I'm like, how do you not have music?
I gotta have some sort of noise always in my life going on. I get this from being around drag cars, like getting my eardrums blown up by a screw blower, these Pro Charger guys. I mean, I gotta have constant noise in my life.
When it comes to plugging my ears, if there's a car doing a burnout, I'm plugging my ears. I'm like, I don't want to have bad hearing. And then I drive these cars, and it hurts. I mean, even with the helmet on, like I need to wear earplugs driving, especially that Nova, dude. Oh my gosh, with the zoomies.
Yeah, I think it was Pro Tree Ben looked at me when we were down at King of the South, and you've got Bumblebee with Bill Lutz driving it, and dude, big screw blower, just zoomies pounding out methanol and all this, and I'm sitting there just like a champ, no earplugs, nothing, just taking it to the face, all the methanol, and they're just looking, what the hell is wrong with you? I'm like, I'm just used to it, guys.
Yeah. Your season.
And then it's funny, it's because I told them it's never when they're sitting there idling. It's when they get on the two-step and pull away. That's when the methanol really hits me, and I feel like I'm about to puke my guts up.
Yeah, because all that stuff starts fuming. Like they're running rich sitting there, and it hasn't got to you yet. And then they get the velocity out of the pipes, and it takes all that junk that's just sitting there stagnant and forces it up your nostrils.
The death cloud hits every time they launch, and then I'm trying to zoom in. Like my eyes are like partly shut. I'm sitting there like, I just hope this video looks half decent. To a T, man, every time.
Now it makes sense. I've seen a few shots in your video. I'm like, what is he doing? Now
I'm dying. The worst one I had was I was at Piedmont shooting Radio versus the World, and it was Bumblebee and the Lumberjack car, and Lumberjack's big Pro Chargers, zoomies, and the way the zoomies were, they were stacked zoomies, and they pointed right at you, and I'm like, I kind of moved a little bit to the side so I'm not getting murdered by them. So they get up on the two-step, and the tree malfunctions and holds them on the two-step for 12 seconds. I had to stop the video, and everybody's probably laughing their ass off to me because I'm hanging over the wall, puking my guts out.
Oh gosh,
I can't take it no more.
Methanol is really bad for you. Like M5, when we dined in my car, we all thought we were gonna die the next day because like we're all sore, we had headaches. And I talked to Jason at VP. He's like, well, M5 will make you feel worse. Like it'll make your muscles ache, but it is not as bad for you as M1 because M1 has some kind of chloride or chlorine or chloro something. And if it gets in your blood, like if you inhale enough of it, it gets in your bloodstream and it'll never leave.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. So you're screwed.
Now I know when I go every month to do blood work, the lady gives me a funny look like, oh yeah, I'm gonna start talking. It's the methanol, ma'am. It's the methanol.
She's like, do you happen to run a meth lab? You're like, not meth lab, but there's meth involved.
I don't run the lab, but I've inhaled the fumes once or twice.
She's just gonna give you like a little post-it note. You need to wear a mask. Wear a mask next time.
I'm not. I learned that back in 2020, 2021. I'm not a mask person, no matter what. So. I'll just take the beatings. I'll take the methanol beatings. Which
I'm not getting a shot or wearing a mask. I'm sorry.
Which I will tell you. I will say this: if you come up, got tongue twisted. If you come up on a car that's got one ethanol R and it smells like moonshine straight out the still, like I almost want to write rules for a class and give them a weight break just to be in that fuel.
Dude, some of the good pump E smells, man. You can tell when it's the good stuff. That's one thing I miss about driving my car on the street all the time was E85. and I don't know what it is, but I love the smell of E85. It just reminds me of a lot of good times back in my early 20s when I was just such a degenerate hood rat driving my street car everywhere.
Hanging out in the Indiana cornfields.
Oh man, that stuff's prevalent around there.
But man, so what is the update? Because you were originally signed in, locked in for King of the South, and then you said we just didn't have Uncle Sam where it needs to be. How's Uncle Sam doing now?
So what had happened was the way my bank account was set up. No, me and Tom's actually here right now. We went testing one time on small tires, and my car tried to kill me. Like legit tried to kill me. It never made a good pass. It did go 153 to the 8th on like no power. So I'm like, oh my gosh, my car's gonna be fast. Finally, I'll have a fast small tire car. And the last pass, it spun, and I pedaled it, and then like it came up, and it just felt weird. It's like I ran over something, and then the next thing you know, I'm just like all over the place, and I pull the chute, and like my car slams on the ground. And I hear this grinding, and I smell this burning, and I'm like, how? I'm in the wall again. How did this happen? Like I just got my car back together. Yeah, that's what everybody thought. Like everybody thought I just smashed right into the wall. Well, apparently, we know I'm an idiot. And I didn't put lock nuts on my struts go through the strut cups, and I put a nut on there. It was not a lock nut, and that nut rattled loose because my car was shaking the tires because I had a Hoosier with no tube on a radial prep track. So my car, at the second pass, it rattled the dump valve loose, oiled down the track. It just shook everything loose. Well, this last pass apparently it shook. Well, it wouldn't have shaken loose if I actually did the right thing, but it shook that loose. And I guess when the car came up, the top of the actual strut came out of the strut cup. It shot the spring in the orbit and it slammed the front of the car down. And I went for a ride, and I didn't actually hit the wall, but my front end was dragging the ground. And luckily I did what Jason Terrell said, and I put I think it's a Racecraft tree on my front end to mount the fiberglass front end, and it has these plates on the bottom of the front end that sandwich to the tree, so you bolt through the fiberglass, so you can take the front end off and set it on the ground, and it's not scratching the fiberglass. Well, those plates drug on the ground, and luckily didn't rub through my front end, but it was bad. I thought it was on fire. I was half a second away from pulling the fire suppression system because all the fiberglass was smoking so bad. It was just bad. And the next week I had to go to Chicago for a big NHRA race that Alex was putting on, and I'd already committed to going there. And it was a big deal because like I don't do NHRA stuff, but it was a big deal for me to go and race with her because I wanted to. And we had fun the year before. So like I committed to that, and I was going to have to leave directly from there to go to South Carolina or North Carolina. Which
North
one is
Carolina.
it? North.
Well, we're on the border. The track, dude. I literally, when I go down there, the track is in North Carolina, and I leave the track, and 5 minutes later, I'm in South Carolina. So yeah. It's a border track.
Yeah. So regardless, I was like, okay, I have to go to Chicago next week. I just spent 2 months getting my car ready. Like I worked every day on my car for 2 months, and I haven't worked on anything since then. I already sent the $500 lock in because I was like 8 months late on that, and you text me every day for 8 months. Send lock in, send lock in, send lock in, send lock in. I'm like, I'm broke. I'm broke. And you're like, okay, send tomorrow. I'm like, I'm gonna be broke tomorrow. Finally sent the lock in. I'm like, all right, I'm going. And then like after the whole, I was like, okay, the car is not where it needs to be. I have to go to Chicago and back to work. I know, like, I don't feel confident at all, and I don't have the money to go. So I was like, I got to call. I can't go. And it broke my heart not to go. I text you. I text you and ask you not to hate me for not going. But
it's part of it. It's like, what is it? My saying is, when shit just hits the fan at that point, it's just, you'll have that on these big jobs, man.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to know when to not go.
Sometimes it just, you got to know when it doesn't make sense.
And then I didn't put Uncle Sam on small tires, kept it on big tires, went to Six Summer. I spent every dime I had to get this new to me truck and trailer It's still got 300,000 miles on it, and the trailer's still 20 years old. But I spent everything I had to get this new truck and trailer set up, and I go to Six Summer and blow my car up second pass. And I'm not talking about just like lift a head gasket. I'm talking blew a piston into I mean, like when I say pieces, I mean like little chunks. It broke the rod broke the block, it broke the oil pan, broke my starter, broke everything, basically broke my heart. I mean, it broke everything I have. It just basically, I think I have a good set of valve covers left, maybe.
And honestly, you're finding at least the positive and the negative. Hey, I still got good valve covers.
Yeah, I know, right? The whole front of the car will not rust. It is covered in oil. It's actually still leaking oil. I haven't touched it. We unloaded it out of the trailer, and I have not touched it. It's sitting there leaking oil in the same spot. And I'm like, it's going to make a great YouTube video to tear it down and look at everything, but I've been so busy ever since that I just haven't done it.
Well, which in all honesty, you know, the Nova or that Camaro, I think both would be competitive cars for something.
The Nova for sure would. The Nova makes a lot more power. The Nova's been really fast on radials. It just, we weren't even going to put it on slicks, but then we were testing. We're like, hey, Cincy Street Nights tomorrow. Let's put weight in this in slicks and be dumb. And then it actually did okay. So I'm like, okay, cool. Let's order all this weight to put in it, even though, you know, the motor's not where it's supposed to be and all this. But I'm like, it makes enough power. If we can overcome the weight, then we'll be all right.
And plus, it's a Nova. I mean, it's the third gens, Novas. That's at least in my book. I'm a Nova guy.
I'm like, third gens, every other car ever, 70 Chevelle.
I don't know. I'm still Nova even over the Chevelles, man.
I've got a 72 Chevelle now, but 70 Chevelles, my dad had one when I was born, and it was like the car that I always wanted as a kid because he got rid of it when I was real young, and it's like my white whale, you know, it's like my Moby Dick. I want a 70 Chevelle so bad. So one day.
Hey, it's one of those, if you keep looking on Marketplace, one day it's going to pop up.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna find the stuff to convert my 72 to a 70. It'll be all right.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do on that.
Any way I can get it.
So what's the next few months racing wise hold for Nickky Bobby? I mean, we've seen you testing in the Nova. We've seen you now out racing the third gen with the blower.
I was supposed to be racing a Mustang, but we blew the heads off of it the first pass after Pete bought it. Yeah. Yeah, it was bad. But I won't say blew the heads off it. Both the head gaskets are hanging out the front of both heads. I'm like, how do you even do that simultaneously? I don't understand. But
down button, just a couple notches.
I didn't even tune it. It was the tune-up that was in it by a very reputable person, and I don't know what happened. Not blaming anybody, but we don't know what happened with it. So no, it's under investigation now. But
it's drag racing. Shit happens.
Yeah, the future, I'm not really sure, man. Just mainly business. Alex has drag week coming up in a couple weeks, and yeah.
I'll tell you, you're going to talk her into doing the 8th Mile deal out here with Devin.
I mean, she actually has a lot of fun when she goes when I race. And I said something to her about it. I'm like, maybe we can get you to drive one of Pete's cars. She's like, well, I think I kind of like it when you race and then when I race. Like I like helping you and I like when you help me. So I'm like, cool with me, you know, like I don't ever want her to think I don't want her to drive, you know. So that's why I said that. But I'm totally fine if she's just there hanging out too, because like I can do the same thing with her. I'm totally fine just supporting her, and she wants to do the same for me. So I'm whatever.
I'm already picturing the content in my mind right now, like a small tire no prep race, and the first round chip draw comes down. Nickky Bobby left lane, right lane, Alex Taylor.
And I'll be like, listen, these small tires are really bad. You better change your tune up a lot. And she was like, I'm not that stupid. And I'm like,
and you're sitting over there like,
she just make me look stupid.
This is officially a no-win situation at this point.
I actually lost to Zach Sherman on a hole shot. He beat me on I went faster than him on the draggy.
Oh, shit.
It's funny because you see in my GoPro, my finger moves before his car moves, but his car moves before my car moves. So I'm like, man, he must have really treated me.
Dude, that was literally one of the closest when we were doing the highlight vid last night. Like one of the closest races, and I told everybody, I said, I don't care if win or lose. Nick Taylor's in a blower car. We have made so many strides now that's just insane.
Oh, I can't wait till you see the video I'm going to post of it. We get out of the car and he's like, that was awesome. I'm like, that was awesome. And we gave each other a big hug. And he's like, I was like, I don't know if you got me. He's like, I don't even care. I'm like, I don't care either. That was the best race, the closest race I've ever been in. And neither one of us were like, we don't even care who won. That was like, that is why we raced. That was so much fun.
Dude, that's what's cool. I mean, like just shit like that. That's the stories I love hearing.
Yep.
Now, one thing I will ask. Now, you've been to some of the biggest tracks in the nation. You've now been to some of the smallest tracks in the nation. Are you a big track guy or a small track guy?
Oh, I'm a small track guy. I mean, we go testing all the time at Tulsa, and I can go test at Muncie. We're testing at Edgewater. Like, those are bigger tracks. And, like, I've been to Norwalk. I've been to SGMP. Like, SGMP isn't really that big of a track, but, like, I would much rather go test or just go racing like we did last weekend. Like, that race right there is my kind of racing. I enjoy the sketchiness of it. I enjoy that track. I mean, those humps, the dips, whatever you want to call them, the transitions, like those are why a 420 car can get beat by a 520 car.
Dude, and that's why I was laughing. I sent, like, Happy had never been there, and I was rolling up on my scooter, and he was just looking at the track. I said, dude, jump on my scooter and just go down this place. I said, go down both lanes and come back and tell me what you think. And he goes down and comes back. He's like, there's more bumps here than war in the wood. And so I was like, yeah, dude.
The funny thing is, I was actually pretty intimidated, especially after talking to you and then going down on the golf cart. I'm like, this is really bad. And then that first pass, I'm like, this ain't that bad. The next pass, you can watch my TPS. It never goes below 100%. I was just like, it really wasn't that bad. It's just
it's like,
gotta keep a hold of the tire over transitions.
That, and you've got the ability to set your car up. To set it up for something like that. Like that, like you watching the video. As soon as you go the long travel, everything, the extension, the car is just working like it's supposed to. Like, no, you can't take a super tight, complete tube chassis, 1 inch off the ground car down Magnolia.
Yeah,
no,
it'll
not gonna happen.
But you gotta have compression.
Yeah, you had it set, and that's why I was like, I heard the womp womp, and I was like, damn, he's still pulling. He's still going straight.
Well, I wouldn't have womped it, and that I was like, so Tommy and them, I didn't talk to them after we raced, but I'm like, I hope they didn't think I was just doing that to be a dick. But like, I didn't see him, and I saw the transition, so I'm like, okay, he's not there. I'm lifting over this because I mean, honestly, I didn't know what the car was gonna do. I didn't know like, oh, this setup will go right down. I'm like, I don't know what this transition or this bump or dip or whatever it is there is gonna do to the chassis. I don't want it to freaking rebound me up into the air while I'm full throttle. I'm like, I'm just going to go over it not under power to see what the shock sensors say, and then the next pass I'll know if I'm okay or not. I was just lucky enough that my tune-up was a little faster than his tune-up. And that's the thing, like, it doesn't matter what car you have there, it matters the tune-up, you know.
And I'll tell you, and this is mine personally, but your pass gave me them OG Steve Jackson vibes when he used to be grudge racing. I'm a whomp the gas and stuff. I'm like, damn, Nick Taylor's literally whomping the gas.
That wasn't a whomp. That was I'm going to go over these bumps real nice and easy because this ain't my car.
It don't matter if it's a little let off or nothing. If you let off a blower car, you get the womp no matter what it is. It's going to be a womp.
You can hear that car over any car there is the thing. So my womps sound like real big womps.
Dude, we were just lucky that you and Wesley Skinner didn't get paired together because then it would have been Pro Charger on Pro. What?
Oh, yeah.
On that? Oh, just bye hearing.
Pro
or
Charger
Summer Nationals.
I'm all over it. I want that car so bad.
But man, it's and like I said, it's good to see y'all back out because it's cool. I remember when I did my first race at Darlington, like I didn't really know you guys at all, nothing, and y'all just came up and we were just all cool, like talking 5 minutes in the parking lot, waiting on the gates to open. I'm riding around on my golf cart. Yeah, we'll have the gates open here in about 10-15 minutes. Oh man, just come over here, hang out, and we're talking, and like I was like, I don't even know these people. Like I've seen them on TV and shit like that and YouTube, and I'm like, man, they're cool ass people. And
I just like racing, man.
dude, it's going back to when we started about community and stuff. That's what I've learned over the past few years. I just love it.
My
That's what
dad.
keeps me coming back.
Well, yeah. I mean, racers are all one and the same. You know, like some of them got bigger egos than the other, whatever. But like I tell my dad, the first time we went to Lights Out, he saw Murder Nova and Murder Nova's wife. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, it's them and this and that." I'm like, "Dad, they poop too, dude. They're still people. You know, like they're just people. Everybody's just a person. Like that's what everybody always like. Everybody, if anybody ever says anything to me, like, "Oh, I can't believe I'm talking to you," I'm like, "Dude, I'm just a guy that likes to go racing. I'm just a person on earth. Like you can do the same exact thing. It's just do it."
Well, hey, I'm not gonna lie, and you can tell Alex this when I rode over to your pits, and you're like, "Hey, Alex, this is Corey. Corey, this is Alex." I was like, "It's Alex from Motor Trend. That's awesome."
Oh my gosh!
Like I love Hot Rod Garage.
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Dude, that's to a T.
She's just Alex, man. She is awesome, but she's just a human too. We all like racing.
And that's what like the first thing that comes to mind. Like she's got to be one like us, just for simple fact of if they'll go on a drag and drive and put themselves to that much torture, that's a true racer right there. That's an awesome person.
Dude, they'll rebuild their car in the parking lot with no canopy in the middle of the day in the heat with 100 people staring down their backs, and they can't help from anybody. Like they did that at Cordova. They took the heads, they took everything. They took the whole. They had to change the cam, the lifters, everything. They literally pulled the motor down to a short block and changed everything, and still made it in time to make a run. It was
me, if that's me on that end, I'm like, so where's the concession stand at? I'm done with this for the day. I've had enough.
Where's the beer?
Yeah. Like, let me get my chair out. Let me kick back my pawpaw chair for a little bit. Think about life.
That honestly, I mean, I'm as competitive as they come, but like I said, I used to put a lot of pressure on myself to do good, and like I knew I had to do good because like I got bills to pay the next week, and I spent that money to come here. So like I put so much pressure, and I made myself not have so much fun. But last weekend when I lost, and that's one thing I told Zach when we were down on the big end, I'm like, dude, I am having so much fun. I don't care if I won or lost because it's a badass race. The car's doing great. And if I lost, that's fine. I'll drink beer and I get to tune Johnny for the rest of the night. And guess what? I drank beer and we tuned Johnny for the rest of the night, and Johnny won the second chance race. That was Colt's first time out in 2.5 years. And it's like, I love seeing Colt get to be back racing because Colt is a badass driver. Like with me tuning and Colt driving, I love that combo.
And I don't care what Colt says. Colt has a front side car now.
Yeah, that stator's like, ah.
Like I was watching the video. I was like, coming out the 60, I was like, he's definitely backside 60 footing right now.
Yeah.
And then it's piling in. Let's go.
Dude. We've got so much weird weight in that car. So I'm like, we got to take this out. Okay, well, I don't want to take it all out. Let's take it out here. And it's like, it's so uneven right now in the car. But I'm like, we cannot have this much weight in there. It's going to wheelie. And like, the car does not have like a tall gear ratio at all. And it's going 8,000 through the traps at not very fast because the stator in the car is so loose for backside. It's like, turn the dumps off, put all the power in it, and it's just going to ride the converter the whole pass.
So what he's saying is he had to go from backside Nickky Bobby to channeling his inner radial Nickky Bobby. All right, we got to make this work like a radial car. We're on front side now.
Yeah, I'm like, how do you do this? What do you mean? What do you mean?
Colt, take the 100 pounds out of the rear and put it on the nose right now.
Yeah. Luckily, ever since he put a good motor in that, it's actually not a stock block motor anymore. It added so much weight to the front, which sucks for backside, but it worked out the other night, I guess.
Hell yeah, man. But,
so,
as we get close to here, getting ready to wrap up, I've asked everybody that's been on the podcast so far, and I'm going to ask it, like, I know you've been around to a lot of races, did a lot of stuff, but I still got to ask it because I think you probably still have at least one that you haven't done yet, and you want to do. What is a bucket list race still right now for you?
Race or racetrack?
We'll go both. Give me both.
So a bucket list race would probably be and I know I'm probably not allowed to race in it because I'm not from Sweden, but I'd like to do the Stockholm Open, something like that. And I do want to street race in Oklahoma, but I want to go, and it's actually local to me now. I mean, local, 4 hours from me, and I actually know the kid that owns it now because he won my S10 truck that I gave away a while back. George Ray's.
Oh man, dude,
I've
George
watched.
Ray's
Yeah,
is
I
my
saw
bucket
it on
list.
Horsepower TV when I was in like 3rd grade, and I've wanted to go there ever since. And Tyler, that owns it now, he's like, "Oh, you can come test here. You can come race here. Do whatever you want. You can come stay the whole week and test. Just whatever you want to do. Just come on down." And I'm like, "Are you serious?" He's like, "Yeah, man. I own the track." I'm like, "Whoa, okay."
Dude, I think it blows people's minds, but I would drive past ZMAX, Pomona, Texas Motorplex, any of these big tracks in the world just to go one day to George Ray's.
Yeah, I mean, I want to get a group of people to go there just to test, and like, I'm okay if we put together a hat race, but I like testing is my thing now. I love just going and making passes, and then having a race like we had Saturday night. I
Dude,
love that.
dude, I've got the plan right now. The Nickky Bobby Invitational at George Ray's,
It could be big.
brought to you live by Spoold Media.
Yeah. Here's the rules. Here's the buy-in. If you have any other questions, answer them yourself. And if you're wrong, you're kicked out. Because I'm not talking. I don't. That's why I got into the parts game instead of working on people's cars. Because I hate talking to people.
I'm not gonna lie. I might know a guy that's put on races and did promoting and stuff. I might know him. I can give you his information. He's used to getting fussed at by everybody and everything.
I'll call Tyler tomorrow.
Oh gosh, man, don't tempt me with that good time.
I know your schedule's wide open.
God, I wish. I looked at it today because I have one open date, and that's September 28th, and I don't know how I came with that even open. And then after that, I think my next open date is the week after PRI.
Yeah, in
And
December.
then the problem is that might not even be open because we might be RC. That's RC season really hits hard because I go south for RC season.
Oh yeah.
And then I was like, I used to have a month break. Well, now the owners at Shadyside, they're big into the RC game, like racing, like huge. And they've made me spend all this money on this new car and all this that I know I'm like, you're going to have to help me tune because I'm a stock motor ESC guy. I just do some things in the controller and send it. Oh, you're going to Florida with us now in January. We're going to go here. I'm like,
pack that schedule.
Never mind on a vacation, guys. We're just going from big car racing to small car racing now.
Race station, bud.
Oh man, that's what Dragon. That's what I told somebody the Dragon Drive is. That when I do Street Yeet and I'm doing the live feed for it every day, I said that's my racecation. Yeah. I said I get to go travel around for 5-6 days and set my live feed and talk to people on the live feed, and that's something that's really cool. Is like I'll probably never meet these people in my life, but they're on our live feeds no matter what, whether we're at the track, the table, or something. And it's like that's racing family now, even if I've never seen them and I've just seen them through a comment.
Yeah, that's cool.
But man, like I said, we're getting ready to close out on this. Is there anybody you'd like to thank? Any special congratulations? Anything cool? Like Ligaby has a way better way of saying this. I'm still new to this game.
Man, there's a lot of people.
We said we got time. Go ahead.
I mean, mainly. I mean, gosh, I can't even say mainly, but I mean, there's a whole list. But you got Alex, her mom and dad. Since I moved here, they've basically taken me in and taken care of me and helped me get on my feet. Colt, obviously, for supporting me literally no matter what I do. My mom and dad, they're the same way. They support me no matter what crazy idea I have. They're always there to support me, whether they're in person or just mentally, emotionally, whatever. And then you got Pete now. Pete is a guy that owns the cars I've been racing, and I told him when he bought these cars, I'm like, I don't work on cars anymore. Like, I'm not doing it. Unless it's this, and this. And he's like, cool, whatever. Like, I want to get in some cars. I want to go racing, whatever. So like now it's benefiting me. And like, I really appreciate that because he could have gone racing Saturday, but we heard that Mustang. He's like, oh, well, you take the Camaro, you go racing. He went tractor pulling or whatever. So I'm like, that's pretty cool. So like he wants to actually see me do good in racing, even though they're his cars. So like, that's very rare to find.
Yeah.
Colt's right there with me. When we're testing, I'm testing Pete's cars and like technically working, and Colt's there helping me just on his own time. And like I have just a lot of people that want to see me do good, and it's hard to find people like that. Alex, she literally supports me in everything I do. She pushes me to do better and be better. And like my employees now, they kick ass. They without them, I couldn't do half the stuff I'm doing now. It's just there's not enough hours in a day, so there's a lot of people. There's a million people I could forget and still be forgetting people.
Oh, dude. Hey, and I want to say, like, you'll always have a fan in me, dude, no matter what, because there's not many people I know that will go on the biggest stage, like for racing, the PRI show, getting an award from the biggest drag racing magazine, and my man shows up in a tuxedo t-shirt.
That was a rough night before too. I'm telling you what, had to remind myself to breathe on stage. I was so hungover. It was a bad night. Yeah, it was bad. But I mean, I'll remember that day for the rest of my life, because they were like, "People, please don't cheer now." And like I got up there and like you couldn't even hear yourself think. Like the whole room went wild. Like that's a testament of the people that enjoy seeing me do good. And it's hard to find people that enjoy seeing other people do good. Like that's a lot of people have jealousy and envy and all that. So like when you find people like that, you got to keep them.
Dude, what's funny is like Wes and Nate and them are messaging me like, "What headshot do you have of him? What we need a picture. We need this." I'm like, I've only really photographed him going down the track. Let me go through my files and see what I've got. And I've got this one picture. And I'm like, I'm gonna send him this, and like Nick's end up sending me a message like, "That's the best you had."
Yeah, all kinds of good pictures. I don't care, man.
Like since then, I've stepped up my people picture taking game. Like now, when I'm at the track, I try to get candids of everybody, whether in drivers meeting or something. I never know when I'm gonna need it now.
Yeah, I will say Meg, Alex's sister, she's really good at getting pictures, the people photos. I mean, she's good at car photos too, but man, she can capture the stuff nobody thinks of.
I follow her stuff, and she is so gangster at that. I'm like, it makes me like, I gotta go back to the drawing board. I gotta get better.
She's good, dude. I'm telling you. Dude, they got it.
But man, it's been awesome catching back up with you talking. You probably be the first person to go for Pete, because I know we're going to do another episode on here before too long.
Deal.
And I'm pretty sure we're going to see more racing. I'm going to end up probably being at some more racing you're at. And we need to do one where we're actually just in person, not like when you're there and I'm here. We'll do one because I've got all the stuff to do that. We'll do it like straight track side and just get everybody involved, the whole crew.
That's fine. Next time we come through Arkansas, we're not far off 40, so let's see. Even though you said you're never going to go through again.
Like I told Houston, I said, because we're already planning to go back to Small Tire Gangsters in Texas. I said, man, I ain't gonna lie, I've never been a flying person, but you might be picking me up at the airport.
I don't even want to drive. It's funny because I say I don't want to drive, but I flew to Indiana and then I ended up driving a truck and trailer back, and I actually enjoyed driving back better.
I don't mind driving, but I did learn my lesson that before next trip, even if I have to buy them myself, I'm buying him the VIN extenders, because I learned being in the back of an F-350 for 15 hours, the air condition just does not flow good. And you get a little cramp back there, and I'm like, if you don't do it, dude, I'll buy them. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Please, for the love of God.
But man, I'm ready to get out and do some more racing. The whole Nickky Bobby crew, everybody out there for you, Alex, Colt, the whole gang, man. Dancing Dylan, you know, my buddy Dylan.
That video has got to be haunting him, dude. Everybody and their brother was like, "Is that your buddy Dylan?" I'm like, no.
2AT. And then you've got the people like me that pull up Pinata Farms and like fix his face onto that guy's head and just make it even worse. I mean,
poor kid.
But yeah, man, we'll do this again here soon. Like I said, we'll have the 4 Pete, and we'll keep in touch with you and see how big Nickky Bobby Inc. gets, man.
Hopefully it can keep up with my racing habit.
Hey, that's all we can hope. As long as if the job is supporting the racing habit and you're still able to have fun, do life as it is, you can't ask for nothing better, man.
Quality right there.
Hell yeah, bud. But
all right, man.
I appreciate you coming on. No problem, man. Thank you for coming on, and thanks everybody for listening to the Spoold Media Podcast this week.